Lesikhathi se-apartheid ngazalelwe emaplazini eBloemfontein. Mina ngaqala ukusebenzela amabhulu ngina-7 years. Ngisebenzela amabhulu. Isikolo andisazi, ndiva nje kusithiwa kukhona isikolo. Andazi noma kuyemiwo kuhlalwa phansi. Uncindezelwa inkulu kabi. Simenyezwe le mfazi webhunu emile ebunyango angibize nge-nickname yami, Nicky! Komisho! Jele mothoma di only several coffee here. Sange ke ndifumane inkululeko yokuba ndingangena isikolo rendiyephi. Uphuma kwaMandela ejele kwakukuhle kakhulu. Savuya sonke bendingazi nokuthi ngizomfinyelela kanjani. Ndiguqe nje ezinyaweni zakhe ndibonga uThixo into asenzele yona wokukhulula uMandela etilongweni ebanjelwe nento angayazi ebanjelwe inyani. Yatshintsha impilo ngoba nalaphono ithe sesigugile sesifane siyohola. Sasifumana imali encinci kakubi. Kodwa sabona seyinyuswa seyikhutshulwa seyibekwa kakuhle nabantwana bethu bengena misebenzi baze bathola nemisebenzi kwatshintsha yonke into kwaba kuhle. Bawuna ngoku ngisakhathazekile. Isakhathazeke kakhulu emphefumulweni wami. Ngithi intoni bekungahambi mina into enje engigulayo enginje nje mbandinje ngilijaqa. Hayi. Masingomvaleli ngenyembezi. Asimkhulule usenzele usebenzele. Ngoba abantwana bethu sebazibona namhlanje ukuthi bangobani. Obani bebekade bengengo umuntu phakathi kwabantu.
Oh, it's always heartwarming to hear from the elders and a man, a person like that who is now saying they would have rather themselves, Sarah, have gone than utata.
I mean, what's also amazing and special about this is that ugogo lived through the apartheid regime, right? So she knows what it's like not to have all the things that Baba Mandela has made possible for her. And that's quite special, where a lot of us didn't experience it. We know of it, our parents did, but we don't know what it's like. We don't know what it truly means to be liberated, you know?
Our next conversation is going to be with a man, Uvusi Temagwayo, who at the age of 17 was named and ranked the first place in terms of public speaking in Africa. By the age of 22, well, he was right at the top of his game in the world. In Australia, they called him the youngest and most exceptional public speaker in the world today. And now, Vusi Temagwayo is here in the studio with us to just have a little discussion on utata. I mean, you're a professional speaker. You're awesome at speaking.
Yeah.
How did he touch you? Did you meet?
Yeah, so I think if you grew up as a young person in South Africa, you can't not have been touched by the legacy of Tata. And I think many of us experienced it in different ways. For some of us, it was 1 year you're going to a township school. The next, all of a sudden, things have changed, and you can go to multiracial schools, which was amazing. So I think for many of us, having to go through that experience was how, on a more personal level, he made our lives quite deliberately different. I mean, it was one day you couldn't be in certain places, and the next, all of a sudden, oh no, I can go to school with these people. I can conversate with these people. Actually, they aren't gods in any way. We are all just the same. So I think that is how he touched each of us as young people. So I did meet him. I had the privilege to, twice. The second time I met him, I'd won the World Championship in public speaking. And as was his nature, if you do something exceptional and you're South African, he found a way through which to extend his own blessings. Just the most incredible man. I can't, you know, I've had the privilege of meeting presidents the world over. Nothing compares to Tata.
Did your meeting have a conversation? Did he say something to you?
Yes.
I mean, you've just come off the stage, you've wowed the world, you're the best at what you do, and Utata says what?
Well, I think he used to speak in code. I mean, I was a young person at the time. But I think at the essence of what he was communicating was the responsibility to lead and go forward is not something that's given to those of us who are more extraordinary than others.
Yes.
I think what he communicated was in each of us is a little Madiba. And no matter where your space, no matter what your talent, if you can bring that to the world and let the world experience it, you bring the Mandela in you out, you know.
Demi, let's speak a little about young people in this country. We afforded all these opportunities as a result of Ubab Madiba. What would your advice be to them with regards to all the privileges that we have and how we should cherish them, basically?
I think simply this. Number one, focus. So we need to find a space where we can bring out the Mandela in us, and we need to focus and we need to make it work. And we need to remember that we will not have these opportunities forever, and that it is important for yours and my generation, in particular our people, black young people in South Africa today, to have the courage to go through and to achieve the dreams we have. Because if we don't do it, we do not set a precedent for generations that follow us. The mere example of Utata is a person who had the courage to chase his dreams and to see those dreams to fruition. And I think yours and my challenge as a generation in South Africa today is to stop whining and complaining about how tough it is and how there are no opportunities. It's to find the spaces and to make it work so that we can advance our people forward.
Now, we keep on saying that Utata was an extraordinary man, and which he was, you're right. And I believe that each and every one of us need to be extraordinary in our own right. And you mentioned we carry a little bit of Utata Madiba. What is your advice to young people with regards to being extraordinary in Utata Madiba?
I think the first thing would be, to the extent that you can, get an education. And I think it's such an underlying theme. You know, we talk about this immortalized statesman he's become. But many people don't know, long before he became that statesman, he was a simple student at university graduating for his LLB because he understood the importance of getting an education. And even more important is seeing things through. So when he started, he finished.
Which actually speaks to your life, because you started an education at university and then couldn't finish.
Yes.
And that's got to be an inspiration that maybe you drew from Utata, that I have to keep going. I have to make a plan.
Yes.
Why were you forced to stop, and how did you then carry on to become the speaker you are, the businessman that you are, the person you are today?
So I was kicked out at the end of my first year for something called financial exclusion. It basically means you can't afford to pay for your fees. It wasn't benga phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't say
So I was kicked out of varsity and I went and started working, and then I was invited to speak at this amazing conference held by the Black Management Forum, the keynote at which was the then president of the country, Mbeki. And that's what started off my professional public speaking career. And I then took the savings and I went back to school. So I went back, I did my honors, I did my masters, I graduated, and have gone on to study in all parts of the world. Because again, I think the example is important. Look, we can all talk about how tough it's been. And it's an important message for young people. At some point, the romantic story about how tough it was is not going to carry any water. At some point, it's the substance of what you've achieved and what you've overcome that's going to show your true strength and character. And we can no longer sit back and go, oh, well, it was tough. Of course it was tough. It was tougher for Utata. It was tougher for the generation that followed him. And it certainly was tough for some of us in our generation. But we have to transcend that. We have to become bigger than those challenges.
I'm going to challenge you, because you're an orator. Yesterday, we saw some amazing orators at the memorial service.
Right.
Let me give you maybe 30 seconds or so. In a nutshell, you're being called up to stage to speak about Utata and his legacy and what he has done for this country and why we love him so much. What do you say, and do it the way you would do it?
There can be no denying that life is hard work. But in the end, the bells are rung, the songs are sung, the hymns are written, and the annals and books of history are constructed on the man who harbors not on the difficulties he has to go through, but on the hope of a brighter tomorrow. At the end of the day, the humanity of our spirit, the Ubuntu in each of us, the Mandela that resonates at the core of our soul, is our very ability to dig deep. When you can go no farther, when you can do no more, when you can study no harder, when you can muster nothing else, to dig just a bit deeper, to find that magic in you, to bring it out, and to let the world experience it.
Wow, wow. Truly, truly amazing. And
Can't thank you
truly
enough for
hope
that. Wow, that's amazing.
And you made it up.
I know, you made it
On
happen.
the spot,
We
too.
heard you, we listened, and we can actually dig deep in ourselves and become the best that we can be. And I think that's what Utata Madiba would have wanted for all of us. So, yeah, sure.
Thank you, Sam.
Shot, dude.
So you see, there's a reason I'm a 2-time world champion public speaker.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
of course there's a reason.
Extraordinary, you are. Extraordinary and remarkable is what the theme of the show is. It's an extraordinary life that Madiba lived. And look at the children of that extraordinary life. We are now extraordinary, even on a global scale. We'll keep going back after these words because we want to capture the essence of why people are here today with more extraordinary, remarkable stories about the icon of our nation after this.